New Thought Media Network proudly presents Lindsay Leimbach, Practicing Infinite Possibilities, Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And now, here's Lindsay.
Hey everyone, welcome to PIP, Practicing Infinite Possibilities on New Thought Media Network. And thank you for watching me on Facebook, or maybe you're watching me on a website, or you're watching me on YouTube. If it's a rerun, I'm happy to have you. And if you're here live, hey, throw in a comment. I would love to see who's with me. And unless you make a comment, I'll never know. I just want you to know that. So how's this week gone? How has it gone with your infinite possibilities? Are you manifesting? Are you creating the good? Are you recognizing things that you've done in the past that maybe pop up, like things you want to do, and you're like, wait a second, stop. Take that sacred pause. Are you taking that sacred pause and then shifting and making a choice to your higher consciousness? That is our power. This is our temple. These are our tools. We are a vehicle for God to be flowing through us, universal energy to be flowing through us, but we have to be awake, right? Awake. And so how do you wake up? How do you allow this to happen? How do you make the choice for that to happen? And that's why we do PIP, Practicing Infinite Possibilities. And we've been in the series of the 7 spiritual laws of success. So Deepak Chopra said there's 7 things we can do to wake up, to practice this, to make sure that we're doing the infinite possibilities, to make sure that we're making the higher level of consciousness. And so we've been going through it in this series, and we're actually up to the 4th law, which is the law of least resistance, the law or least effort. You can say it in many ways. So we've already done the law of pure potentiality, and that was episode 36. Then the law of giving, which was episode 37. Last week we did the law of karma. Wasn't that awesome? 38. And today is actually 39, which is the law of least effort. But we're going to take a deeper dive. We're going to go lean into karma a little bit more, because there were some things that we didn't get to. So much happens. But before we go there, let me hide this. I have been asking people to send in to me when they see hearts. So manifesting hearts in your life. Let's practice. Let's say, I want to see hearts everywhere. On your walks, on your drives, while you're watching your favorite TV show, letters, advertisements, notepads, nature, wherever they pop up. And when you say to the world, hey, I want to see this, when you say to the universe reflects back. Remember, what you think about, you bring about. So you might as well think about and have some fun with hearts. So I got some today, and I just want to pop them up here. How's that? Do you see that cactus? Isn't that beautiful? This is actually where I live in Southern California, and we have a park right out that I can walk to. But I didn't take this picture. One of my girlfriends did. And she said, look at the heart in the cactus. So happy to see these healthy cactus. And then here we go. Check this one out. So let me go to the side. I actually posted this one because I like to collect rubber ducks. I know it sounds funny, but it just makes me happy. It brings that playful kid inside of me out looking for rubber ducks. And then I like to give them to people. So it's like kind of a fun thing to do. And I found this one with a pig, and my girlfriend loves pigs. And then I got it to give to her. And then I looked at it and I said, oh my gosh, there's a heart on my rubber duck pig. Is that so much fun? Okay, let me show you one more. This is another girlfriend. She sent me that. And she said, Lindsay, I'm walking around in nature and I didn't see a heart, and I wanted to. And then I realized, wait a second. I can make a heart. And so she took some dried leaves and made a heart on the beautiful grass. And that's the infinite possibilities. So we get to shift. We get to choose. We get to see what we want. We get to create our own reality. This is your right. It's everyone's right. It is your gift. It is your gift from God, from the universe, as having a human experience. A spiritual being having a human experience. The spiritual being gets to create, gets to manifest. And how does it do it? Through the body, through the mind, through the action, through this. When I look around, when people say, well, none of this is real, we're always energy moving and we're really connected. Well, that may be true at a higher level, but in the human body, it feels separate to me. I have to remind myself that it's not separate. It feels very separate. And that's when the ego starts taking over and we start going into ourselves and things like fear, greed, anxiety, worry, resentment, all that is because you're so egocentric that the world is around and about you. And you forget that you're actually a vehicle and a tool for the spiritual being of everything. And so when you start waking up, and you start using the 7 laws of spiritual success, then you do PIP, practicing infinite possibilities. That's why I wrote practicing infinite possibilities as being what my what this talks about. Okay, let's see. Oh, good morning, Dad. Oh, he's having lunch. Thank you from Florida. I really appreciate you dropping a comment. And remember, it's always so much fun for me to see who's here. I know so many of my friends and people share the videos, which is awesome. Please do share these videos. Send it to people that might need it. And not just mine, all the ones on New Thought Media Network. They're all filled with rich reminders and lessons and teaching tools on how to wake up your higher consciousness. And why do we do this? Well, I think it's, our spiritual destiny for our soul to express itself as God. But let's take it a little lower than that. You know what I mean? Let's make it more simple. It makes me happy. It makes me happy. I wake up and maybe the world feels like it's falling apart around everywhere. I turn on the news and whatever, and I hear things. I have friends that are actually in surgery right now. Well, he's actually gotten out, and it's been so far very successful. So we have outside environmental things because we care about the world, and it bombards us. But if we get overwhelmed by the outside, and we feel like we need to control the outside to feel safe on the inside, then we will never feel safe. Because there's no way you can control the outside. What you can do is control your response to the outside. You can control your filter system from higher consciousness of seeing the world and then making a choice that actually helps the world and helps yourself, and or going to that ego side that I was talking about. I went out to lunch with, I wish I put this in, I didn't, but I went out to lunch with this lady. Her name's Mrs. Waingro. I love her so much. She's 80 years old, and she was my kid's preschool teacher. And I haven't seen her in years. And so my kids are 24 and 26 now. So this was a long time ago. And she looks terrific. And I looked at her and I said, why do you look terrific? And she goes, why do you look so terrific? And I thought about it. Why after, 20 years? Yeah, we look older, but we look equally as happy. We look really, quite good. And we're just joy. And I looked at her and I said, kindness. She looked at me and she goes, yeah. I said, I've been kind to myself and kind to others. And you have done the same. And you taught that to my kids. And that really is the root. When you don't know what to do and you can't remember all the 7 spiritual laws of success, go to kindness. Just go to kindness. What is the kind decision right now for me? What is the kind decision for the other person? If you take that road, it will be the right answer. All right, let's go back to my banners. I want to throw up a quote. I like to do this every time too. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One is through nothing, is a miracle. The other is through that everything is a miracle. Now, some of you guys might know this. This is actually really one of my favorite quotes, and I actually think about it at least 5 times a week. You get to make that choice. But who said that? Einstein said it. That's what I love. I love that science and scientists and people who lean into science and understand health and so forth, they're all starting to realize and catch up to the spirituality, that this is our temple, and that everything we're creating and everything that we're seeing is a miracle beyond what we know. The ordinary ohms, ordinary miracles. Ohms, ordinary miracles. So have you had an ordinary miracle? And that really is the first law of pure potentiality in Deepak Chopra's book, is that there are these answers. You're never left alone. You are interconnected to everything. And you have to, a lot of people call it get downloads. They're like you connect, you go to that sacred pause and you get to the higher level, and all of a sudden these aha moments, all that pops up. Your subconscious mind isn't being bombarded by fear and your ego and greed and worry and anxiety. And when it's not being consumed by self, and it is open to the infinite possibilities, the law of pure potentialities, you come up with the most magnificent ideas. I'm going to tell you one real quick ordinary miracle that I had this week. So as you all know, I am a mindfulness coach, and I get downloads. I don't overthink when I see my clients. I know that they're there. They're the right people who are meant to be there at the right time. And I know the more relaxed and the more I don't overthink what we're going to talk about, the more success it is. So on Saturday, I went to a thrift store and I found this, Give It to God. And what it is a God box. And then it has matching little pad of paper in it that matches. And then it had a matching pen, but I don't have the matching pen in here. And then you write down your worries, your anxieties, and you give it to God. You give it to the universe and you put it in. So I thought, I'm going to buy that. And I thought maybe I was buying it for my girlfriend's birthday. And then on Monday, I was seeing a new client. I was taking my shower and I got a download. No. This God box is for your new client. But I barely know my new clients, and I don't necessarily always talk about spirituality or God with them. A lot of times we're talking about much more mundane, how to reduce stress, worry, anxiety, the brain, things like that. I only go there if I feel the download says to go there. So, but I got a download. I meant to give her this box. And I said, all right. So I put it on the table on the side and I said to God, if I'm meant to give this box, I'll know the right time. So we're coming to the end of the session. And I realized, yep, I'm meant to give her the box. I said, well, we're coming to the end of the session. She said, wait, stop. I have something I need to show you. I said, okay, what is it? And you know what she pulled out? She pulled out a box that she made herself. And on top of it, it said God box. I'm not kidding you. It was her prayer box. And she opened it up and had a pad of paper, and then it had things she wrote in. She goes, this week, she goes, I don't know if you know, but I get these downloads. And I got a download that I was meant to make this box and put my worries into the box. I almost started to cry with joy, cry with connection, because then I held up my God box. And I said, I got a download that I was meant to give you this. So, of course, I didn't need to give it to her because she already had one. But we got to really lean into and connect at a higher conscious level that this is what she's meant to do right now. She is meant to write down her worries. She's meant to write down her anxieties, not talk it out with everybody. Talk it out with the universe. Just talk it out with a few people. And I always call that the power of 3. It's one of the tools I use when you have some deep issues in your life. Pick 3 people you want to talk to, only 3, because you really want to listen for an answer. And you want to make sure that you're not just spewing out your pain to get it out, that you're actually picking the right people to talk to so you can listen to and get the downloads through them to the higher level of consciousness, not just people who want to listen to your drama, right? You got to be careful about that, because drama people love drama, and they don't necessarily, they're not at the higher state of consciousness. They could be, but they're usually not. They're more in the excitement and the drama and having a pity party together. You don't want to do that. So pure potential, it's always everywhere. And then the law of giving, that was number 2. So that's the whole concept. It's not just giving. I want you to know the law of giving isn't just giving. It's a concept of flow, that when you give, you receive. If you give love, you receive love. If you give anger, you get anger back. If you're stingy, you get stinginess back, which leads us right into the law of karma, right? And the law of karma is the concept, what you get, you receive. What you do. Oh, wait, hold on, let me say, everyone, before you go, say hi. The law of karma. If I love my puppy will love me back, right? All right, you can go. Nope, now he doesn't want to go. He was like, you're ignoring me. And now once I gave him love, what does he want to do? He wants to have more love. That's the law of karma. So last week, we also talked about what do you do when you have some bad karma? You know, when you've set up some negative karma or some uncomfortable karma from your past, you know, maybe that you did some things that were deceitful, or you didn't have the coping mechanisms that you have now. So you had a lot of rage when you were young. So you raged a lot. And so people in high school or in college, or people, your first marriage, like, because I'm on my second, last, and best marriage, right? So your first marriage, your first husband remembers you being a certain way, and you've done all this work. So what do you do with that? Well, exactly. You have to pay your karmic debt. And we talked about AA, Alcohol Anonymous, but all the anonymous groups, that step 8 is that you make a list where you're making your karmic debt. Who do you need to make your karmic debt? Because you've had some negative things going on. And step 9 is that you make amendments with the karmic debt. So it's not just saying I'm sorry, but that you're leaning in and seeing if you can bring back a balance into the relationship. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't. But, you know, and sometimes people are deceased. And so you kind of have to give it once again to the universe, but you still can think it out and open your heart and go and take responsibility, right? Take responsibility. And that shifts your karma. So the other thing we talked about, okay, cutie, now we're going to let him down. There he goes. The other thing we talked about is, when you have negative karma, what can you learn from it? What is the experience? That shifts your karma. So yes, I did have some negative behaviors when I was getting my divorce. I was filled with fear and anxiety and worry, and I have to take responsibility for that. I cannot justify my behavior because of that, but I can understand my behavior and say, what are the mechanisms and what are the tools I used to overcome and shift myself to a higher level? And so what did I learn from it? Now I have to tell you, I learned a lot from some of the negative karma I produced, and I got to see the cause and effect. I did this, and then the dominoes went this way. Now, once I've learned from it, I can share it with others so they don't have to repeat the same mistake. And then I get to give it the gift. So the gift is healing. I had to learn how to heal myself. I had to learn how to have new tools, but the gift is healing. So that's why, once again, in AA, if you have people that are very successful in being in sober and sobriety, then they're wonderful people that can give back to help other people with sobriety, much more than someone who hasn't had the experience. It doesn't mean the person who hasn't had the experience can't help, but the person who's had the experience and successfully made it through it, you know, and has learned how to do it and have new coping mechanisms, they can help a lot. So there's two things you can do. And then the last thing Deepak talks about is transcended. And he talks about by meditation. So in other words, if you have bad karma, let's say it's a stain on a shirt, meditation and practicing meditation is like washing it over and over. The stain might still be there, but it's really gotten lighter. Now, that's important for you to understand about that. And it's not just meditation, I want to say. It's the spiritual practice. It's the spiritual practice. It's going into the sacred pause. Maybe you're not meditating. Maybe you're taking that breath. Maybe you're writing it in a God box, right? Maybe you're watching New Thought Media Network and seeing all these wonderful teachers and speakers. Maybe you're reading really great books like this one, Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach, which, by the way, after in June is going to be our new series at PIP, how to use this to incorporate from her point of view and also from our point of view, potential, right? Practicing infinite potential. So there's lots of things you can do and to shift yourself. And what he's saying is when you transcend your karma, what you're saying is that you're not reliving it over and over and over again. Karma, remember, is cause and effect. What you think about, you bring about. That is karma. What you think about, you bring about. So if you're not thinking from a lower, greedy, hatred level of thinking, egocentric level of thinking, then you won't be bringing that about. If you've learned how to transcend some of that human behaviors that we have in our DNA, which I call caveman thinking, that life is all about us, and you can see that we're all interconnected, and you start feeling like you're part of the universe instead of separate from the universe, you're transcending your karma of your separateness into a connection of wholeness. Oh my God, is that awesome, right? Is that just so awesome? So awesome. So today we want to lean into the law of least effort. So what does that mean, the law of least effort? All right, let's get in there. Law of least effort. For those who have the book, oops, that's karma. Back to here. It is starts on page 51. So the law of least effort. This principle of least action, of no resistance. This is therefore the principle of harmony and love. All right, let's think about that. Least effort doesn't mean lay down and do nothing. I just really want to put that out there. So people are like, oh, least effort. Binge watching day. That's my least effort. I'm not going to do the laundry. I'm doing the 7 laws of spiritual awakening, the success by Deepak, and I'm doing least effort. That means I'm lying in my hammock. There's nothing wrong with lying in your hammock if you're resting. But let's really talk about what it is. This is what he wrote, and I really like it, so I'm going to read it to you in my dyslexic way. Least effort expended when your actions are motivated by love, because nature is held together by energy of love. When you seek power and control over other people, you waste energy. See, so it's least effort is when you're not feeling like it's all about me and feeling like you have to protect and use all that energy about me. Let me read that again. When you seek power and control over other people, you waste energy. When you seek money or power for the sake of the ego, this is what we're always talking about, right? You spend energy chasing the illusion of happiness instead of enjoying happiness in the moment. So least effort isn't saying doing nothing. It's saying going to the higher consciousness, stepping into the flow. And know we're all interconnected and allowing things to flow, not making them, not controlling. He better behave this way or I am going to freak out. That's a lot of energy that you're doing because you're thinking about what should happen and how you're going to react to it. And you're getting yourself upset about it. And it hadn't even happened yet. Right? It hasn't even happened yet. And you're already spinning your wheels and are exhausted. Okay. Don't do that. So we're going to go when you seek money for personal gain only, you cut off the flow of energy to yourself and interfere with the expression of nature's intelligence. But when your actions are motivated by love, there is no waste of energy. When your actions are motivated by love, your energy multiplies and accumulates. And the surplus of energy you gather and enjoy can be challenged and create anything you want, including wealth. So it doesn't mean to be poor. It means don't be greedy. Now, I really like this. Some of you guys in a past episode have had a few, I think I've had 3 interviews with Reverend Kusla, who's a Buddhist monk down in Koreatown in LA, and he's fabulous. I just want to say he's fabulous. And he doesn't like the word love. Okay, like, oh, we're going to do love and you got to center in love. It's love is so up for interpretation in the English language. I just want to say that, is romantic love. I love my dog. I love my husband. I love chocolate. I love you. I can say I love the Golden Girls, Barney Miller, and the TV show Monk, right? I love all those things, but they're different kinds of love. They're different kinds of love. So he goes back to what I was saying in the very beginning. Use the word kindness. So loving kindness, a lot of Buddhists put them together. Loving kindness meditation, loving kindness, because it defines that kind of love. It's where you are being kind, where you're feeling interconnected, where you want to share and care for others because they're part of you. So doing the least effort is coming in from this concept also of trust of the flow of giving, trust in the flow of pure potentiality, trust in the flow of karma. That if I go to my higher level of loving kindness and I'm doing actions from loving kindness, you know what? It feels good to me. When I'm kind, it feels really good to me. And you can say, well, that's selfish. Well, that's a good selfish. When I'm kind, I'm like, I radiate it. I'm excited about it. And then I put it out there and the other people feel it, and then they're kind back to me. And when I'm kind to myself, it's easy. Now, some of us need to really practice that because we've gone into the concept that we need to control the world or control other people to get validated, to make sure when you see someone who is very controlling, okay, they're very rigid. It has to be a certain way. We all know people like that. And sometimes we get like that. Everyone gets like that sometimes. So, but don't look at it like, oh, they're the bully or they're over dominating. What's really going inside when someone is very controlling is that they don't feel that they can go into the flow. They don't have the power of flexibility. They don't have the power of the law of pure giving, pure potentiality. They don't understand the law of karma, that when they're controlling to other people, that sets up a karmic reaction that they don't want. And then they want to control more because controlling someone push people away, then they're actually have less control. And then they keep doing this dynamic and it's very painful for them. So internally, they don't trust that they have control inside. There's another big stake on this is people pleasing. I want to step a little bit into people pleasing because you might not be seeking control of everyone, but you might want to please everyone. And why do people do that? It is exhausting to control people and it's exhausting to please everyone. Both of them is because inside they don't feel whole. So people that are into people pleasing, and of course you want other people to be happy, kindness to self and kindness to others. But people pleasers can be kindness to others and don't do kindness to self, because what they're asking is approval from others. Did I do a good job? Do you like my dinner? Oh, I'll be the head of this committee. I'll be the head of that committee. And they're always making sure. And if people don't give them the response they want, then they get upset about it. Okay, so we want to make sure, once again, when we're doing the law of least effort, we're doing it from self-kindness and kindness to others. So are you being kind to yourself? If you are, it's going to not feel difficult. If you're being kind to other people, it won't be difficult. It does not mean that you don't talk about hard subjects. Sometimes when you're in work or with your kids or your spouse, you got to talk about some hard subjects, some things. You set up your boundaries. You have your boundaries for kindness for self, right? You got to be able, but can you express them in a way in which doesn't cause the other person to be defensive? If you can go with the flow, then the flow of kindness, even in difficult situations, works out. It's amazing. It works out. It works out. All right. Well, once again, the time goes so fast when we're all together. So if people would like to send me their hearts, I want to remind them, centeredmoment@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with me in the future about coaching and really work on some of these things, this is what I do. It's what I love. It is my passion. And we will get into our Dharma with the D, which is your life purpose. And I feel like for now, in this present moment, this is my life purpose. And that's why it's fun and easy for me. Remember? Least resistance, least effort doesn't mean you're not doing something. It means you're not resisting the world. You're accepting the world as it is. And that is another reason why we're going to take a deeper dive in June with radical acceptance, because it's huge. It will change your life and bring forth happiness. So I really want to do that. Next week, we're going to also do a little bit more into least effort, which is going to lead us into the law of intention. So we're going to do the law of intention. I want to thank everyone who has shown up. I see you. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for sharing. Hey, please hit the button that you like this and share it out. It's just really quite fun for me. And I want to come down here. I also want to thank New Thought Media Network for everything they do. It's a nonprofit organization and it lives on donations. I also want to really say, hey, look at the other wonderful teachers in New Thought Media Network. Share and like their posts too. I just am sending you all the greatest blessings, all the love. Keep doing fun things like I do, collecting my ducks so I can give away a little bit of playfulness and a little bit of humor. And you know what else I like ducks? Because when they go in the water, they go with the flow. And if they get in an eddy and get turned around and go under, they pop back up. We're all like floating ducks. We too can go with the flow, and sometimes we might go under, but trust, you will pop back up. Okay. So thank you. Love and joy to everybody. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.